right, we shall begin. I want to welcome you guys to my first ever panel discussion on bullying. It's a very important topic that I would like to present, even though we want this to be a fun weekend, right? But it's much, with school starting soon, I guess we should basically remind people of tips of and how to combat bullying in the schools, especially for those who are younger. So this is my first, so bear with me. Okay, so basically you probably have all this, so you know the etiquettes for attending convention, so please follow it. So like no swearing or anything like that, or abuse of any kind. So I'm basically gonna give my perception on my talk on bullying and how I've dealt with it, and some ideas that I've been contemplating over my head. Of course, what is a bully? Basically, anybody can be a bully. Any of us can be a bully. It's a person who basically targets another person or individuals for one reason or another. Sometimes we get bullied because we like My Little Pony or Doctor Who or stuff like that. Or it's just the color of our skin, or if we have a disability and that. So one of the things that I discovered over the years, because I was a lot of soul searching and stuff like that, is one incident in elementary school, this was years ago, was this kid assaulted me with, he threw pudding at me. And so I went directly to the teacher and said that this is bullying. Well, the teacher goes to me and said, no, it's not bullying because you weren't physically harmed. I don't see any blood, so it does not classify to me as bullying. And of course, we know this is not true. At least I hope you guys realize that bullying is not just a physical attack on the person. Bullying is physical, verbal, emotional, and even in the workplace, financial. And most people think that, or at least maybe some people have an impression that bullying is a physical, like basically happens more physical attack, but that's not true. It's more verbal. Bullies like to attack a person, but without leaving any evidence of it. So it's much easier to prove if you get assaulted physically. You got a bloody nose and stuff like that. Because crime does not prove a bullying takes place. And bullying actually happens to be subjective. So how we interpret what bullying is to us is how others, especially our teachers and our principals, or any adults, should see it. It's in school, and even in university and college. It's how we see it. Now, from there, the person that you're bringing it to their attention should look at it from both sides because of the issue. Now, and also online bullying. I forgot about that. There's also that, but which we know. Bullying is abuse. It's just like physical assault against women and children. It's not a rite of passage. Nobody has a right to bully another person. It is not a part of life and not a part of growing up. It's not a tool to make us, that we should learn how to grow a backbone, like we should accept it. No, it's not. It's rude and abusive. Like nobody should have to deal with bullying. And often we see it in our schools, especially today. I don't know, honestly, I don't know if I would be able to handle without what I know now. If I was back in high school with dealing with bullying, because honestly, you kids that are still in high school have a lot more issues and bullying issues, especially to deal with. There's a lot like it's not fair to you guys. So bullies that target you guys, I feel for you. Like it's a crime as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So we stand up against racism. We stand up against violence against women and children. We even stand up against homophobia. But sometimes people, you know what? They basically bypass bullying epidemic, like, and you know, it's like it's not a big deal. Like you could see, I know I've had teachers like in high school watch me get picked on, and they go, whatever. And I would even bring it. There was one time I actually had this kid. I don't even know who he was, but he would actually bend my front tire, and he would do this repeatedly, day after day. And my dad or my grandpa would actually fix my front tire, because I couldn't. I would try to do it myself, but so I decided one day to approach the principal. The principal said to me, "Walk to school." Wait a minute. Why don't you punish the kid who's actually doing this to me? No. This is the thing that I do not agree with in schools. The ones who are being bullied are the ones that are told to change. Wrong. Bullies have to change. We have to stand up. We have to get in between a person who's being bullied. We have to stand up for those who are being bullied and stand up in solidarity. It doesn't even, it doesn't matter if they're your friend or not. It doesn't matter if the kid, like in school, if they're younger or older. If you see bullying take place and witness it, don't remain silent. Silence is what bullies want. Bullies want to continue their behavior instead of changing their behavior. I over the years, even in high school, I could be bullied, but I didn't stand up for myself. I kept quiet, which was a mistake on my part. I learned to stand up for myself, and which I'll explain later on what I did as well. But if you see somebody being bullied, stand up. Even go, unless you think the bully is going to use physical violence, I would actually, my suggestion is stand in between the person who's being bullied and the bully himself. And you get in that bully's face and says, I'm not going to take this. He's not going to take it, or she's not going to take it. We're not going to take it, and we're putting our foot down. Walk away. Now, bullies do not like, through the years I've discovered, bullies do not like to be targeted. They don't like to have the roles reversed. Because they'll go, oh, you're hurting my feelings. And then, it's like they can dish it out, but they can't take it. But that does not mean we bully them back. You do not stoop down to their level. Okay? It's just... But also, there's also times where we might think it's bullying, and a situation isn't a bullying situation, when it's in fact not. Say you're out with your friends, or playing with some people that you may know or may not know. Well, somebody might say, call you a name, or that. It's, that is not, I wouldn't consider bullying unless a person that you know has done it repeatedly in the past. Like, it's sort of like a repeat, like moments, okay? So when they call you name or that, like the heat, it's like the heat of the moment, it blurs, it comes out of their mouth. Even it may come out of your own mouth, where and you don't intend to, it's non-intentional. But it's usually, you can tell if a person is genuinely trying to insult you, degrade you. It's basically, if they're attacking your character, your family, like your religion or anything like that, it's a long list, right? That's where you definitely have to put your foot down and stand up for yourself. Don't remain quiet. Don't, because silence helps the bullies. So like for interests, like everybody has different interests. Everybody has some people like sports and stuff like this. So we have, for here, we like My Little Pony. I mean, there's a vast age group difference, but, and like that, not many people will get it. But so we'll probably be made fun of. You know what, I would used to take offense, like if people mock me or, insult me, but I'm thinking, in which we could discuss later, that we should just, if anybody bugs us for liking My Little Pony or Doctor Who or Star Trek or Star Wars or so forth, so what? They don't have to like it. So if the bullies continue, ignore them. And like, we don't have time. However, if they attack your character and degrade you in front of others, that is where you must take a stand. This is where you must step in for your friends or kids you don't even know, your coworkers, anything. Even if it's an adult that is being bullied. Even if you see an adult being bullied. You're a kid, but if you see it, you stand up, you speak out against it. Because we all need to know that we have each other's back. Even though it doesn't seem like, oh, it's every man for himself in this world. No. We got each other's back. We may not be friends. We may not, it's time, that this bullying attitude, this abusive attitude, has to stop. And last year I wanted to do this because of the young boy, if you remember, that was made fun of, mocked, because he liked My Little Pony. 11-year-old, he tried strangling himself, and he nearly died. He's still recovering, as if you're still aware of the case. But it's like, he should not have had to go that far. He shouldn't have, it's like, bullies should not push somebody to the point that they want to kill themselves. It's wrong. And we all know it's wrong, right? So, now, I was bullied in school. I was bullied at work. In which case, so I bet everybody knows somebody who has been bullied. I'm currently do not have a job at the moment. I'm looking, but in between. But I did have to deal with some bullying in the workplace. I was working at a grocery store, and the owner and his two sons basically abused me, bullied me. The dad basically ignored. He would occasionally say insults, but he chose to ignore. And I wasn't putting up. I was standing up. If it was 20 years ago, yeah, I probably would have just, remained quiet and did nothing. But I was standing up for myself. But what do? They laughed. They continued to laugh. And I said to myself, no, I want to continue to speak out speak out against what they're doing to me and what they were doing to others. And so it went on for about 2 years. Last year's April, the youngest son assaulted me for the second time. I called the cops. I told him. He laughed. He says, "Oh, as if they're going to believe you." Well, he was right. The cops basically dismissed me. But I wasn't going to give up because I had people who witnessed. The cops didn't even bother asking if there was my coworkers who heard me screaming for help when I was being assaulted. They didn't even ask a customer who was in the store. But anyway, so I told this, that I'm going to basically, if they continue their behavior towards me, I'm taking them to court, in which I did just past April. I took them to the BC Human Rights, and I actually won because they were discriminating against me. They would bully me in front of customers, in front of coworkers, in front of sales reps. Now you can't conduct a business in a professional manner if you degrade a person. You use homophobic slurs, disabilities. You can't. It's like, and it's the same with school. You can't get a proper education if bullies are bullying you, if you are too worried about bullying. So, anyways, this time last year, I had actually walked off the job because the youngest son did actually threaten to assault me for the third time, and I walked. They themselves felt that I walked away from them, that they still have this attitude that they did no wrong. And I'm just going, no, you guys did wrong. You don't degrade me. You don't degrade the cashiers. It's like that. So, anyway, just a second. Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, everybody has different interests. So we don't always have to agree to everything. Some people like for ice cream, some people like chocolate, some people like strawberries, some people like vanilla. Well, I like cookie dough. So interests like that, bullies can make fun of us for what we like or how we dress and stuff like that. Ignore that. But if they attack our character and stuff like that as well. Another thought that it came about is perception. Certain times we could feel that we have been bullied, but it was when in fact we're not. It's not to the extreme that we assess the situation. It's dependent on how our emotions are at that point. If somebody makes fun of us, or jokingly makes a comment that we take, literally, and that's something that's not much really bullying, but if it's done repeatedly, yes, that is bullying, regardless of what your perception is, regardless of what your emotion is. And I know in elementary school, I had a teacher who proceeded to hand out certificates, at the end of the year, certificates, diplomas, whatever, for each of this class, like my classmates. And when it came to my turn, she proceeded to announce to the entire class that I am a teacher's pet and I'm a worry ward. So the entire class laughed. I'm going like, what the heck? I could understand the teacher's pet, but I was more offended by the worry ward and the way she said it. Like, really? I worried once. This kid was climbing a tree I said, what are you doing up there? Just be careful. That's all I said to him. And that was classified as being a worrywart. So it was certain, okay, I want to do this quickly. And then in grade 9, I went to my first and only appointment with a school counselor. And the school counselor said to me, when I sat down, Kyle, what are you doing here? You're boring me with your stories. I didn't even say anything. I haven't even seen him. I didn't even talk. But he knew the situation through other teachers talking about me, and I would go out and they would be talking about me. It's like, it was really embarrassing. So I hated high school. I didn't make any friends. I didn't feel like I belonged. I was depressed and stuff like that. It was horrible. But once I graduated, I started backtracking, it's in the past, you let go. But you can also learn from the past. You can learn from your mistakes and fix them. You can learn from the bad points and learn to rectify for future references. Don't live in the past, but learn from the past. Haven't you guys seen Star Trek First Contact? Yeah, okay. In the movie Star Trek First Contact, I was watching, and it was, I believe it was Alfred Woodard's character was talking to Picard about Picard's quest for vengeance against the Borg. And she used the comparison with Captain Ahab, where Captain Ahab, his quest for vengeance, revenge against the white whales that maimed him, was basically did more harm to him and to his ship. Basically it killed him. His hate, basically, if we hold on to, we want revenge against the bullies, it will eat us up inside. We won't, it's like, revenge is not it. Standing up is not revenge. Speaking out is not revenge. Retaliating is revenge. Humiliating a bully is revenge. Do not do that. Do not stoop down to their level. Okay. So it's when I heard that, I realized I was holding too much hatred for what the other kids did to me, and I just said, you know what, forget it. I'll basically forgive them. So I released any bitterness that I had for them, and my whole perception of how I viewed things and changed. And even more so, 10 years ago, I actually was diagnosed with a disability. I discovered I was missing part of my brain, the corpus callosum. So certain things I did, had to deal with growing up. One of the things I had to deal with, besides motor skill, I wasn't good at, and stuff like that. I'm still not good for a lot of things. Not many people notice, because it's considered high functioning. But I would take things literally. So if somebody says to me, oh, you're ugly? Well, that's not nice, but I would take it literally. Your hair is a mess, or your hair looks ugly, or something like that. I would take things literally. If somebody says there's an elephant outside, yeah, I would actually believe that. And that sort of would make other kids go, okay, let's pick on him, because he's stupid. And we know I'm not stupid and stuff like that. But it's that, this mentality that we sort of, like Cinderella last night basically says, names can have a magic power over them if we let them. So if people say that we're ugly, we start to believe that we're ugly. No. We're not ugly. We're not stupid. We are who we are. I am Kyle. You're John. You're Samantha. We have names. We're not, I'm not ugly, or she's not ugly, and so forth. Okay? So, do not allow the bullies to define on who we are. Okay, now, for the most part, I've got everything done. So, I believe that's if anybody has any, right here, the microphone's here on the table. If anybody has ideas on how to deal with bullies, or whether in school, college, and stuff like that, you could come forward and ask and see, maybe. I don't know if that is on.
No, if it's not, no. I'll just speak loudly.
Okay.
So one of my questions is, it's easy to generalize bullies, as bad people, but sometimes you have to think about where they come from. So, what is your way of dealing with, someone who may be mistreating you, but they're not a bad person? You can't just say that they're a bully, but you need to take action.
Okay. Yeah. No. That's a good point. Okay. We can't excuse their behavior for what they are doing. Yes, they may have a bad childhood. Yes, they could be abused at home. But we can't allow their bullying to take place. If there's something seriously wrong with them, then, especially in school, they need counseling themselves. And we can't, by allowing their abusive behavior to continue, if they get abused at home and so they have to take it out on one of their classmates. It's you can't oh well, you know what? He's being abused at home, so I'm gonna allow him to beat up this kid or to target this person or target these people. No, it's we can't. You gotta stop it and get help for that person. Because ultimately, by the ones that are being bullied, who's to say that, oh, you know what, they can go and kill themselves or cause harm to another person because they're getting bullied because this guy's, no, you gotta, basically, it's like abuse. You gotta stop the cycle as soon as possible. You gotta seek counseling, that. Of course, not many people will go to counseling because they don't see what their actions is, what they're doing is wrong. Any other? But that doesn't work, really.
That's okay. One thing you haven't touched on is the reactive victim, which is somebody who was bullied, but then they turn around and start bullying other people.
Yes.
Because they figure, if it's either bully or be bullied, and
Yeah.
it kind of creates an endless cycle.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's like I said. If you're if you're abused at home, you want to abuse at school or in the workplace or stuff like that. There's no excuse. If I'm bullied, I don't want to bully others because I know how it is. Now, kids who are being bullied do often, exert. So that's sort of abuse, where you do need help. You need counseling. It's nothing honestly, I'm doing counseling right now. I'm having been counseled. I'm not perfect. I'm coping. This situation with my job has ultimately given me post-traumatic stress. I have nightmares about the thought of working at another grocery store. I could go into a grocery store, but I hyperventilate at the thought of actually working at another grocery store. Another retail store, I probably wouldn't have. I don't have the thought of, fears, but yeah. Yep.
There's something you said earlier about standing up to other bullies,
Yeah.
if someone else being bullied, but you said something about a child doing so if they see an adult being bullied by another adult. What I wanted to address is that could actually be quite dangerous for a child because
Yeah, that's true. that's true.
power, so.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, no, that's true, yes, yeah, you're right.
So you might wanna go with
Um,
another adult.
Yeah, no, no, I was thinking more like teenagers type thing. I was in that
Still
mindset.
dangerous.
Yes, it's still dangerous. Yeah, no, if you do see, one of the things is if you're physically assaulted at school or in the workplace, I would actually call the cops. If, a situation you see, like the adults, like if your kids, like if you're a kid, you see somebody being bullied, you basically find another adult or even call the cops. Like I know, honestly, it's something, a certain person I know is being abused by his wife, verbally, and she physically assaulted him, was like pushing him and all that. I was ready to call the cops on that, but the person told me not to. That they could deal with it, they could handle it. But I said the next time, I am definitely going to stand up, and because he was embarrassed, because here's the guy being bullied and abused by a woman. Like it's usually the other way around, and that's the way he also feared that she might say if she's the victim. So any more thoughts or any suggestions?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the counseling aspect, which is, I think is a really good idea. I took a year of psychology at university, and every professor that I talked to in psychology, they always said if it was their choice, they would have every person have some sort of counseling. Like you don't need to have something wrong with you. That you don't need to be bullied either. You should. They said to me every time, they're like, no matter what, every single person can benefit from counseling, just from like learning about yourself and learning more about how your brain works. I think that's a really good idea. Even if you're not bullied, it's a really good idea to get counseling.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I actually was avoiding because of that incident in grade 9 where, oh well, you're boring me. Like I mean, I didn't even say anything. Like I wasn't even talking to the guy, but yet he knew that I was being picked on. I knew that I was being bullied, and he didn't want to deal with it. So I just walked away, and I was like, if this is the way counselors are, why should I go to another one? I changed my tune because with the recent event with the circumstance with my employer and his kids. Yep.
To add on his thing and what you were saying, it's actually what I've noticed is counselors at school, either they don't have enough experience or they're doing it for the job, and they're being told to tell what the school tells you. And if you should get counseling, you definitely should get it
Outside.
of the school.
Yes.
That's what
I agree. I totally, yeah, definitely, sorry, yes, you're right. Yes, definitely. Oh, yeah, thanks for actually mentioning that. That is exactly what I would encourage anyone who is being bullied to actually seek help outside the school rather than inside the school. Because yes, they, like you said, they may not even have an actual degree, but yeah, but they also say what the school tells them, and that's what we see, like the Bully, the movie, and also if you like on Facebook, Stand Up for the Silent and stuff like that. There's a couple of organizations and that which is speaks out or gives tips for anybody who's being bullied. Any more questions or thoughts?
I think it's so important to make sure that in a school that you do accept the help where it's given, and just because that they may be underqualified doesn't mean that they can't help. Sometimes, I mean, again, not always. Again, in your circumstance, it wasn't the best, but I think that you should still at least try to get help within the school. Sometimes they can help stop it, stop the bullying, and if that doesn't work, then you should get outside help. But I definitely think that you should.
That is also true. That is also true. The one thing I was also doing is I did not remain silent. I decided to take the initiative. When I was being bullied at work, I was vocal. I told people, I said, watch what happens. So I had people witnessing the abuse. They knew that I was being abused. So I was vocal, I told everybody and anybody who would listen. So in school, yeah, that's true, find somebody, but I think for counseling purposes, maybe outside the school might be a little bit better. But for support network, find for kids to find a teacher or that. And also, just because one does not seem to have friends in high school doesn't mean they're a loner. This is like, you can have friends out that attend different schools. Like, kids should not judge, oh, this person seems to be eating by himself, so they doesn't have friends. No, that's that. Oh, and one other thing was online bullying. Is like, I mean, I haven't personally, this is one of the modern day issues that we have to deal with, is kids getting bullied online. When people pick on me online, from my perspective, I tend to ignore it, even when they attack my character. But I'm like, I'm not of the generation, of the younger generation, that relies on social media, that it's like what happens on social media is what happens like face to face, like that sort of, like, for me, it's like I'm not familiar with, is, like, can relate to, but I guess anybody else can, am I generally right? Please say.
Well, I'm a little bit more into that, even though I say it was from social media, but what I have noticed is what makes cyberbullying so bad is people can wear a mask and disappear, and so you don't know who you're being bullied by. But the best thing to do, especially on specific sites, is block the person. Even though, like, oh, you're running away, blocking is sometimes the best thing you can do.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't be
Yeah,
afraid.
they like hiding behind a mask. Come on, you're gonna insult me to my face.
At least have that dignity to go face to face with you.
Yeah, it's like, I thought my bullying days were over until I was dealing with at work. As a matter of fact, my employer had actually stolen, it started off with my employer stealing my phone. He denies it, but I caught him with it last year. And like, it took two years, but I knew he had it. But he was hiding the phone from me, so I wouldn't see that he had my phone. But, any more thoughts or any things? Anything that, how many actually were bullied that are willing to raise their hand? Yeah, it's, it's like, it's sort of like, oh, I don't want to admit that I'm being bullied, but it does, I think everybody at one point in their life will feel that they've been bullied. Not in,
I just realized that I have been. I forgot.
yeah, no, it's like that, and sometimes, I would like to, once again, I would like to state that the kids that basically I felt bullied me in high school, I'm friends with today. I'm associated. They support me. I told them that I was going to be speaking out against bullying and what I had to deal with in high school. Some of them said, go for it, do it. And some of them don't even realize they were had picked on me. They got up in the moment because other kids were doing it, so forth. It's like, so, but the one thing I have a problem with and still trying to deal with were the adults that ignored the bullying. They would watch it, and that's what I see a lot in schools. Like, they have this zero tolerance, but like I said, bullying is basically we determine what bullying is. How we perceive bullying to be. It's subjective. So, if like in school, if an incident takes place, between you and another person, you approach the teacher. The teacher should listen to both sides and assess the situation. But the teacher should not go to you saying, oh, you're just over-exaggerating. Listen to your the teacher should listen to your interpretation and take that as the situation, not as your own personal, like my perception of what bullying is. Take that person's, and then listen to the bullies and sort of assess that. Yeah.
A bit of a story, I don't know if it ties too much in here, but I've also experienced being bullied by other teachers. And in kindergarten, we had a kindergarten teacher that just started, used to be working at high school level, and is now working with kids who are like 5 and 6, and are goofballs and do all these things. And for me especially, she treated me like I was at a high school level, stricter on me. And it would always go down to my dad, who would never listen to what I had to say. He would always take the teacher's word for word, and then I'd get in trouble that night, and I wouldn't even know why I was in trouble. So my advice for adults, especially parents, is if they get in trouble with teachers, the child is to listen to both sides of the story and come up with their own idea.
Yeah, that's true. One of the things when it came to when I was being bullied and picked on, my parents' advice would say to me, ignore them. They will go away. That did not happen. They did not. Now, remember I said earlier, bullies that pick on you because of what your interests are. Yes, I say ignore them, but still stand up to them. It doesn't matter if, it's like that they don't understand or like the same things as you do. Because a lot of people like hockey, but not everybody likes the same hockey team. A lot of people like ice cream, but not everybody likes the same flavor. It's so forth, right? And even people who like a certain hockey team may not like certain hockey players. They prefer this hockey player and stuff like that. I mean, My Little Pony, everybody has their own special favorite character on the show. Mine happens to be Pinkie Pie.
Yeah.
Because I just like her personality. Like, it's something that, like, I'm shy and, no, I don't want to do this. Like, heck, doing this is, like, out of the box for me. But I felt this topic is too important not to talk about. Now, this is not to say that you should, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the rest of the day. I want everybody to have fun here. Have an enjoyable convention. Like, mingle. Interact with people that you don't know. Smile. Greet. And make small talk with some of them. Just, make conversation with, and just make everybody feel welcome, because we're here to have fun. Anything more?
I think I have one more thing on peer
Yep.
pressure and group bullying. I remember being back in elementary school and having this group of, what I thought were my friends, and if you want to be our friend, you'll join us in bullying these other kids. And,
it's like stereotypical. It's funny is how, and yet it's not stereotypical in a way, because you don't know who's the actual bully, because Archie Comics, Big Moose, people think, oh, the Big Moose, he's like, no, it could be like a girl with, like a bookworm type, I'm trying to think of a description, like, but at the same time, bullies tend to, I've noticed, like to have people supporting them, and so they get, sort of that they have these henchmen. So like that's why, it's like villains usually have henchmen to do their minions, that. But yeah.
On the group bullying thing, like when I started watching My Little Pony, I was friends with a couple guys, right? And as soon as I started watching My Little Pony, they started bullying me, and like they weren't my friends anymore just because I watched a TV show.
Yeah, it's you know, you shouldn't stop watching. Like, obviously there's certain exceptions to the rule, but you know, you like My Little Pony, Doctor Who, what have you. You shouldn't change or stop because your friends don't understand. If they want to be with your friends, fine, but if they don't always have to like the same things you do, and you don't have to like the same things they do. I know it's weird. I think I can be wrong, but especially for adults, especially guys, why do you like My Little Pony? I think that's like, why can't you like Star Trek or Doctor? Well, I do. Like, you know, like, but it's just, there's something about the show we like, we're attracted to, and there should be no shame in that. So, if friends don't like it, sorry, you're not my friend anymore.
I like to address bullying within the pony fandom itself that I've noticed.
Oh yes.
Because especially I've seen grown men bully little girls out of the fandom because
Yeah.
they said, we're claiming it for ourselves. Ponies are for adult men now, you're not allowed to have it. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Other gross things that have, which on the outside, when people hear the name Brony, they don't think people like My Little Pony anymore. They think, oh, it's these guys here who are being complete. I'm not going to say this word because I think this is a PG panel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so now the name Brony has been tarnished by these few.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is true. It does tend to be bullying within the My Little Ponies. Like, I've seen it on the forum too, and that I tend to, that's the thing is, like I said, like we really, it doesn't matter what, like, whether, like, others like chocolate and we like strawberry ice cream, you know, like, we shouldn't bash people for their interests. You know, it's like, it doesn't make, because I like cookie dough ice cream, everybody has to like cookie dough ice cream. You know, and if you don't, you're, you know, no. It's like my opinion on what my favorite ice cream is should not become the general consensus. So, yeah, it's really got to curb, especially the moderators for forums and stuff like, got to curb, and especially if, you know, some forums that allow anonymous posting, to curb, like, stop that. Like, nobody should, like, post like under anonymous. If you're afraid to basically tell a person face to face, like an insult, that's being like a coward. You know, it's like, I mean, yeah. But yeah, definitely there has been, I've noticed a lot, people actually leave forums because they feel they're not welcome, and we shouldn't. I personally think if you don't, like, if a person, like you said, blocks them. If somebody basically makes you feel uncomfortable, you block them on forums and don't listen to what they say. They can insult you and that. Well, if they actually do insult you and you don't see it, and then somebody else notices it, report it to the moderator or the forum saying. And especially if you know the person has blocked a certain person. It's just like, we gotta be together type thing. Anything else before it ends? All right, well, it's almost 12:30, so thanks for attending my very first panel discussion on bullying. You're great. And I survived. Thank you a lot.
You have a great taste in ponies.
Thanks.